everybody? The Educated Grease Monkey here, the EGM. Welcome back for another episode. That's right. Today we're talking about the 2021 Chevrolet Suburban / Tahoe. Just about a week ago, I put out a video talking about how the Chevrolet Suburban got a Hollywood store. And in that video, I talked about how I thought this was a marketing stunt for the new release of the Chevrolet Suburban. Man, I was dead on. Well, maybe not dead on. I did say it was going to happen in a couple months. It ended up happening in a few days. But it's out. And man, does it look good. It looks exactly like the Silverado. It's got the same, very similar front end, which is great because the Silverado, awesome ride. So it's got a very aggressive front end. It's got that nice body. They got that Z71 package with it looks a little more aggressive. It looks like, it's jacked up a little bit. I love them. They look great. The Z71 has like a blacked out front end compared to the other models, which it's got more painted features in the front. I actually like them both very much. Usually the trims can change the way I feel about them, but in this case, they actually look really good to me. Both of them do. And I'm actually excited about the tech in this stuff. Like, there's some new stuff, some pretty standard, normal stuff that GM always does. But let's go over it. Let's talk about what's in this new 2021 Chevrolet Suburban, Chevrolet Tahoe. Exterior-wise, this is what it looks like, and it's fantastic. Interior-wise, not much has changed. Not that it's a bad thing. The 11th generation Suburban had a gorgeous interior, so did the Tahoe. Very beautiful interior, and honestly, this one looks kind of the same. Instead of having the built-in radio and LCD screen into the radio, it kind of pops out a little bit. They put some extra vents at the bottom. There's a few more detailed stuff. The dash looks a little nicer than what it did in the previous year, but it's almost dead on. Like, it's as to what it was. There's not much of a difference. Subtle changes, which is okay. It's not bad because the last interior wasn't ugly by any means, so it works. Hey, and I'm fond of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I'm good with it. It looks good. I'm happy with the way it looks. So as far as interior, it's not bad. It looks pretty good. Exterior, definitely A+ for me. I love it. Moving on, let's talk about the engine. So from what I've been reading, there's actually going to be 3 different types of engine options. The most standard one is going to be the 5.3 liter V8. It's going to have 355 horsepower, 383 foot-pounds of torque. That's pretty standard engine. We've had 5.3s and Tahoes and Suburbans for years now. It's going to have a very similar active fuel management system where it pretty much deactivates certain cylinders to reduce the amount of fuel you're consuming while highway driving and all that. In the past, they used to only deactivate 4 specific cylinders and keep it like in a V4 mode while you're in highway driving. This system's a little bit more complex where it doesn't just shut off 4, but it can shut off any of the cylinders. And it decides that depending on where it's at. So it's a smoother transaction between V8 and V4 mode, which is pretty cool. Hopefully they've made those systems a little better because that was a weakness of these engines in the past. Moving on, the second engine is the 6.2 liter V8, which is the much stronger V8. Comes with 420 horsepower, 460 foot-pounds of torque. I can already tell it's going to be the engine I would want if I were to buy one of these. Both of those V8 options will be available with the Z71 package, which is their off-road package. And that's it for the V8s. Now there's a third option. Here's new stuff. This is new stuff I've never seen before. Never even heard of this engine before. But apparently, it's going to be a 3.0 inline 6. But get ready for this. Duramax diesel. It's going to be a diesel engine in a Tahoe. This diesel engine is going to have 277 horsepower, not much, but it's going to have a great 460 foot-pounds of torque, and that's impressive for a little 3.0, right? However, that diesel engine will not be available in the Z71 package. That will only be available in the other packages. And then, of course, they put all three of these engines on a 10-speed automatic transmission, which is my personal favorite thing about it, because that 10-speed is bad. So you're getting all this power quick, and it's changing through those gears quick. It did end up having an independent rear suspension, so no more solid rear end for the Suburban or Tahoe, which is great. It's time to make that move. That means better handling, better control of your car, better for traction, better ride quality. So far, you get it. All right. Two different types of suspensions. You're going to have an air suspension, which is very similar to what Land Rover has been doing for quite some time. When you're stopped and you're parked, it's going to drop the suspension about 2 inches, so it's easier for you to get in and out of the car. As you start up, it'll raise it up to a certain level and you can drive. If it senses off-road conditions in slower speeds, it'll lift the car up 2 inches to get better ground clearance. If you're on the highway on higher speeds, it'll lower it down 2 inches so that you have better aerodynamics. That's pretty impressive for as a suspension for the Suburban. That's pretty cool. And then they're also going to have the magnetic ride, which has been used a lot in GM cars, especially in the Cadillacs, which is pretty much, it's like a shock that has electricity running to it, and it has this special material inside that reacts to electricity. It's magnetic. So the fluid is like any fluid inside a suspension, and it'll be really soft. And as the car bounces, that fluid is supposed to control the bounce in the car. So as it bounces, like that fluid will go through these little galleys in the shock, and it'll compress, and it'll feel softer on the car. But if you provide pulse width modulated electricity to those shocks, you actually control how thick and how hard that magnetic fluid is. So by changing that, you can actually change the way that the car feels. So you can have the best of both worlds: extremely soft shocks or extremely hard shocks, depending on what the conditions are. And through various sensors throughout the car, you can, it can adjust the drive so that you have the best drive quality. So I'm impressed with both styles of suspensions that they're going to have available for this thing. And it sounds like the Suburban's going to be pretty badass. I'm thrilled with it. I'm happy with the exterior. I'm happy with the interior. I'm glad that they stuck with the good old V8s and even added a diesel, which I'm very curious to how that diesel is going to work. I didn't get to touch many of the inline 4 diesels that came out in the Colorados, but that's probably a good thing. Since I didn't see many of them, that probably means they didn't break down much, so that's good. And I'm curious to see how these diesels are going to pan out. It's so cool that they're putting diesels in this. I knew they were going to put an inline 4 in it, like the 4-cylinder turbo that they put inside the Silverados, but it's pretty cool to see that they're putting diesels in them. Overall, I'm really impressed with it. I saw already some spy footage of the Yukon, because of course the Yukon is just the GMC version of the Tahoe and Suburban. So that will be coming out soon. I already seen some spy footages of it. I'll see if I can find a picture of that and put it up. And those usually, in my opinion, look a little bit better than the original Tahoe and Suburbans. So overall, impressed with this release. Came a lot quicker than I anticipated. You guys let me know what you think. Do you like the Suburban? Do you like the new Tahoe? Would you consider buying it? I know I would. I would definitely get myself a 6.2 liter V8 Z71 package with all the bells and whistles. But that's, of course, if I had unlimited funding, which I don't. So there goes that. Let me know what you guys think. Do you like the release? Yes? No? Maybe? Give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. And till next time, peeps, EGM Out.